Here I'm just, taking off the old flywheel and the old flywheel bolts, getting it ready for the next step, which is installing the new flywheel. And as you can see, I used the air gun, made this process even faster. Here I'm just test fitting the new flywheel and trying to see how it looks. I'll put it in place. I open up the new flywheel bolts that I bought from Honda OEM. Here you can see the size difference from the stock to the bolt that I'm going to use, which is from a J series. And as you can see, I'm lining everything up. Here I managed to put one bolt just to line everything up, and I went and got red Loctite to put on the bolts. This way, this is the procedure you should do when installing bolts like this that are in fast moving parts such as a flywheel. A little red Loctite, not too much, but enough. And just follow this process for the next 8 bolts. So now my camera died, so I couldn't record it, but as you can see, I have the plate, the clutch. I mean, not the clutch, I have the flywheel. Now what I'm doing is setting up the clutch. Trying to make sure I have everything that I need. I went with the ACT. I think this has to be the stage 3, the sprung disc. As you can see, the extreme flywheel. You can't go stock from what I was reading due to the fact that the K series is obviously stronger. It's a way stronger motor than the original Miata. So yeah, even though this is a little expensive clutch, this came out to, I think it was $555. Sorry about that. Packaging seems to be extremely good. I will hope so for this much money. As you see, they provide, I don't know why they do this, but let me go get these out really quick. As you can see, I already got the clutch installed. Everything is torqued down with red Loctite. Now I'm just trying to adjust the motor. I'm doing this by myself currently, so not that the Mazda Miata transmission is heavy at all, because it's fairly quite light. I'm setting everything up for me to try to install the clutch. Really nice and painted. Everything looks really nice and fresh. I'm here, as you can see, guys, but I was having a hard time. Not that the clutch didn't align, but for some reason while I was doing this process, the clutch just wouldn't fully fall. Not the clutch, I apologize about that. My transmission, at this moment right here, I forgot to put the new throwout bearing. Thank God I caught that in time. I installed the throwout bearing, which is fairly fast, fairly easy. Nothing out this world. Once I install the throwout bearing, I go back at trying to get the transmission to fall in place. As you can see, I struggled. Oh, I picked up the camera. Make sure you guys can see it. Right there, it's actually, the transmission is in the clutch, but for some reason it just wouldn't fall fully in and sit flush. So I kept struggling for a while. As you can see, I go to try to lift the engine up even higher, and this took a while, fairly like about an hour of me trying to figure out. This is easier if you have 2 people. If you don't, you can get it done by any means you can really get this done with one person, but as you can see, you will see me kind of, struggle, lift the transmission up. You know, the motor is on a dolly that keeps moving, so I have to put it near the wall. But yep. As you guys see, the transmission is fully on and it's made it with the engine. Me and my dad here just going through. I had a little trouble with the bolts, and a lot of the bolts seem to be the same size, so that was a bit confusing. They should have instructions. Miata did a great job. The product is great, but as far as instructions, there wasn't a lot of instructions as to what bolts go where. You kind of have to just figure it out, test as you go. But that's it. The transmission is on. I'm here torquing everything down, and remember I put red Loctite on all these bolts and torqued it down. You don't have to get a torque wrench or anything like that, but if you would like to, that is the proper way of doing things, is to torque things down to the manufacturer's recommendation. But as you can see, everything's on. My next step will be I have to deal with the starter, installing the starter and the clutch master cylinder, and kind of see if I'm going to have room to maneuver around while I install the swap. I kind of don't want a lot of stuff on the swap because then I have to take it off when I'm test fitting in the car. But as of right now, I'm thinking just add the clutch master cylinder correction, and that's it, guys. That was all.